Manchester United drop yet more points in their pursuit of a top 4 finish with a 1-1 draw against Leicester is how it finished at Old Trafford today. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it really, and I don't know how long I want to be live for because I don't know how much time I really want to waste on these absolute charlatans of a football team. And honestly, if you want to vent your frustration, please do feel free to do so in the live chat. If you've got anything to say at all and you're not watching the stream, please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below as well. And also, if you do enjoy this sort of content, hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. That always helps. But another disappointing day from a Manchester United point of view. A game which we created very few clear-cut chances and really didn't deserve anything more than we actually got. A 1-1 draw is probably flattering us, really. I mean, the goal we got, Fred, it was good for him to get a goal on his 100th Premier League appearance. But realistically, it was a very, very fortunate goal to score. The shot from Bruno Fernandes parried straight back into the path of Fred, who obviously did a good job of keeping it down and putting it in the back of the net. You can't really knock him for scoring a goal. I'm not doing that, but you have to say we were very, very fortunate to get away with that point today. And realistically, Arsenal play Crystal Palace tomorrow. If they come away with 3 points, even if they come away with a draw, I think the top 4 battle is done. And even if they do lose the game, it's still looking very, very difficult indeed, especially with the game in hand that Arsenal have over us. 2 games in hand as it stands right now. It's frustrating and it's very depressing really, because it seems like we have these conversations every single season about how much that changes there need to be made and the overhaul that needs to happen. But I feel like, as I said, every single season we're having the same conversations about how many players we need to bring in, which positions we need to improve. And it just feels like, we're not getting anywhere really. And I know change is around the corner in terms of the manager. After the season, we're going to have a different manager in the dugout and, Rangnick's going to be in the director of football role. I know that. But realistically, we're just going in circles right now as a club. And especially this season, I feel like there needs to be some really, really big changes. Decisions that haven't been made but need to be made. Big decisions. Like, for example, for me, I think that Paul Pogba's days at Manchester United are over. I'm not saying that he's fully to blame for the problems of the club, but I just feel like he's one of those players that is taking up a position at this football club and not delivering the results, and they're not delivering on the pitch for the money that we're paying him. And I feel like it'd be the best for both parties if we were to let him go. So that's one example. And I mean, today, for example, I will say that, welcome Matthew, by the way, and welcome Ricky. Thank you for joining. I'll get to your comments in just a second. Keep them coming in. But I think the main thing that I was perplexed by today was the fact that the system we played from the start just didn't really seem to work. And, the fact we didn't really have a striker on the pitch, we didn't really have a focal point, yet we were playing as if we did. We were playing as if we had Romelu Lukaku back at the club. The amount of crosses that we attempted into the box, and I think maybe one of them was completed. I think Pogba had a bit of a tame header in the first half. Before Rashford came on, we really had no focal point. And even when Rashford did come on, there wasn't too much of a change. So I think that's the big thing that worries me, is that usually when we're playing poorly, we bring on a few players and at least you do see a little bit of a change in tempo, a little bit of a change in desire. But even when Rashford came on, the dynamic of the game really didn't change. Nothing really, changed about the way we played, the urgency. And it just seems that the players don't really care, to be honest. The players almost seem to be resigned to the fact that we're not really competing for top 4. And if that's how they feel, that's how they feel. Obviously, the fans can't change that. But, realistically, as a player, I would still be thinking that we had a chance. Yes, I know a lot of the fans, even before this game, have been saying that top 4 is pretty much over. And right now, it feels that way. It feels like top 4 is very, very far away indeed. But in the end of the day, when you're a football player, you can't think like that. You can't take notice of what people are saying on social media. You've got to fight to the end. And today, I didn't see that urgency, in the kind of 95th minute, in the 90th minute, where, you're looking at the clock saying, we're 1-1 here, we need to score, we should be throwing everything at it. I never really got the I never really got the idea that we were doing that, to be honest. And it does disappoint me as a fan, because even though top four is not something to celebrate, it never should be something that we are, celebrating like a trophy. Yes, you can be happy about it, and obviously, I'm sure if anyone wanted to dig up previous streams when we clinched the 4th spot or the 3rd spot under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I was very happy about it. But that was simply because, I was happy that we'd actually made it back into the Champions League, having had a year out of it, and it's just more of a relief than celebrating it like a title. But I still think you should be happy about getting into the Champions League, because there's some clubs like Arsenal who haven't really had Champions League football for a while, and I guarantee you if they get back into the Champions League, watch how they celebrate it. So for me as a fan, yes, a top 4 finish is not something that's gonna make a DVD, but it's something that should make you happy, and it should at least give you that optimism that next season you can attract better players and just go again. But being in the Europa League already sets us up to fail for next season. It doesn't put us in a good place whatsoever. But as I said, thanks Matthew, Ricky and Dazza for joining. Matthew says, utter dross, but we knew that was coming. Well, I'm going to be honest, I did predict a 1-0 victory to Manchester United in the preview, so I obviously didn't see it coming. But I do think, a lot of these results and a lot of these performances are pretty inevitable, especially after the full-time whistle, which sounds really weird, but it feels like before every United game you're thinking, hopefully this will be different. Hopefully the players will finally have it in their minds that we need to do something, and they'll show some urgency. But every single time it always falls apart, and it's frustrating. It really is frustrating. But I think it is becoming more and more inevitable by the game. Ricky says, who cares? Bruno nutmeg Fred in training. That's probably about right. That's about right. It's obviously the PR at Manchester United is amazing, and at every club, to be fair, PR is always pretty good. But it is one of those things which I don't see changing about this football club. I don't see the urgency. I don't see players really stepping up and playing for the badge. Bruno Fernandes got his new contract, and I was really hoping that it would really make him step up his performance. And today I thought he was pretty lacklustre, to be honest. I didn't think he did too much. I don't think he was the reason we drew the game, but he was someone who was a bit of a poser, really. He didn't really, contribute too much to our performance today. I thought Paul Pogba was the same. I thought Jadon Sancho didn't have a great game either. And Anthony Elanga, probably the worst player on the pitch today. And I'm not going to hammer him too much. He's still a young kid, but I didn't think he had a good game whatsoever. And then to top it all off, tackling Rashford in the 95th minute when he's about to go through on goal and he's being in an offside position. It just kind of puts the cherry on the cake of what a terrible performance that was from us. We'll talk about Leicester, and I will say that if there isn't any Leicester fans watching, I'm not saying that Leicester played poorly. I actually thought Leicester played all right. I didn't think that they were at their best, to be honest. I didn't think they were hugely threatening. But probably if you're going to pick out of the two teams who was the one that was going to win the game, I thought Leicester probably deserved it more than us. Ricky says, the irony is that we only put crosses into the box when Ronaldo doesn't play. Exactly, Ricky. I think that's a great point. Today we were playing as if we still had Lukaku or Ibrahimovic up front, of course Ronaldo, and we don't. We had no one up front. We were trying to play balls into Paul Pogba, which has only really worked in the past in 1 or 2 games. Obviously, he scored the header against Man City kind of 3 or 4 years ago now. So, he can do that, but if you're not going to, practice it and you're not well versed on it, then it's never going to be a good game plan. And it didn't seem like we had a game plan, really. It didn't seem like we'd put anything into practice that we worked on in training. It kind of felt very much like freestyle football today. There was no real identity. There was no real passage to play. And where have we been saying that before? It feels very, very familiar. Dazza says, well, that was a cat game completely. I couldn't agree more, Daz. He also says, one thing that annoys me is we try walking in too many times. Have a shot outside the box like Bruno did, and it got us a goal. Need to shoot more often rather than do that. Well, I do agree that sometimes we run into cul-de-sacs and we try and score the perfect goal. I think Rashford was culpable of this actually in the second half, where he'd pick pick up the ball, and then when he had the opportunity to get it out onto his right foot and bend it into the far corner, he would try and go back inside again and get tackled. And it looks brilliant if it comes off and you nutmeg the guy and then walk it into the net. It looks brilliant, but when you're in a dire situation where you have to win the game, you're drawing the game and you need a goal, you need to be more clinical than that. And we've seen Rashford be clinical. He's had periods of time in a Manchester United shirt when he's been the most clinical player, or one of the most clinical players in the Premier League. So it's unfortunate that he's got like this. But I don't know what's happening with Rashford. I don't know whether it's a confidence issue. I don't know whether it's an issue with, not working in the system, or whether it's just the fact that he's not as good as we thought he was. I really don't know. But there's something different about this Marcus Rashford than what we saw under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And it's been a massive difference since Rangnick has come in. A massive difference. Dazzle also says, unpopular opinion, I know, but I thought Fred had a decent game and got us back in it, being in the right place at the right time. I mean, I don't think you can knock Fred too much. I mean, I don't think he, really contributed, apart from the goal, obviously. He didn't really contribute too much to our performance. And maybe that's a good thing, because our overall performance is pretty poor. So maybe the fact that he didn't contribute too much suggests that he had a good game. But I think Fred was a little bit, he wasn't at his best. I mean, no one was at their best, to be fair, today. But I think he did lose the ball a few times, and he didn't really, have the same sort of quality on the ball that we've seen in games this season against Leeds and these sort of sides. So I don't think he had the best of games, but at the same time, no one had the best of games. So it's always going to offset the standards, really. Box, thanks for joining, says, rubbish, this is worse than Ollie. I mean, I'm not sure I can say it's worse than Ollie, but I want to ask you guys, really, has anything changed since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked? And I'm not saying that Ollie should have kept his job, and I'm not saying that he was the right guy or anything, but has anything really changed since he was sacked? And I felt like we had a lot of promises before he was sacked of, Pogba's going to be a brilliant player, Fred's going to be this brilliant player, and all these players are going to be released from the shackles and play brilliant football. But I'm not sure I've seen that. I will concede that obviously Rangnick's an interim, and he's not supposed to be he's not supposed to be the guy that kind of changes everything around for us. Obviously, a new manager that comes in the summer is hopefully going to have a much better impact. But I can't see too much changes. I can't see much that has changed, really. And it's frustrating to see. It's disheartening to see, really. But, that's Manchester United over the last 7 or 8 years, pretty well since we last won a title. It's just been disheartening season after disheartening season. The last season where I had any sort of hope was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's second season, full season in charge, where yes, we lost in the Europa League final, but at least we actually got second in the table and we actually looked like we were progressing a little bit. That's the one time I thought I'd seen some sort of progression. It's poor. You can't have that. Especially with all the money we spent, about £1 billion since Alex Ferguson left, and we haven't really seen any progression, and it's disheartening, as I said. Diego, thanks for joining, mate. Appreciate it. Brendan Rodgers is getting his injured players back now. Had you guys had your CR7 and Cavani available today, it would have been a different outcome, I reckon. Yeah, I mean, maybe we would have finished a few more chances, but I didn't think we really created that many chances. One thing I will say is, obviously, as Ricky said, we did put in a lot of crosses today, which didn't suit the way we were playing whatsoever. But if Ronaldo or Cavani were on the pitch, maybe we would have kind of had more chance with the crosses. But in the end of the day, if Zidana's are pots and pans, we can't really, go on the hypotheticals. We had the team that we had available to us. Yes, we had a few injuries, but we should have put Leicester away today. This Leicester side are really, if you look at their form and you look at where they are compared to how they've been under Brendan Rodgers, this is a Leicester side that is poor by their standards and has been doing pretty poorly this season. So the fact that we couldn't put them away is very, very concerning, to be honest with you. But as I said, Leicester deserved the point and arguably deserved 3 points as well. I thought they were definitely the better of the two sides today. They obviously had the goal ruled out for a foul on Varane, which probably, I don't know, I'm a United fan, but probably on the balance of it, was the right call in the end. But they were brilliant. I thought they actually did all right. But Leicester fans, I mean, James Maddison after the game said that, they were disappointed not to come away with the 3 points. So I think that kind of shows where Leicester are right now and where Man United are right now as well. Mo Salah, thanks for joining, mate. Appreciate it. Says no Ronaldo, no goal threat. When he leaves next season, we're screwed. Yeah. Unless we bring in a goal threat, and maybe that's what we're limbering up to do. But I doubt it. And if Ronaldo does leave, which does look like he's going to be moving on somewhere, I feel like if he knows he's not going to win anything with this team, I doubt he's going to stay that long. But yeah, I feel like if Ronaldo does leave, we are going to miss a lot of goals and a lot of clutch goals as well. Box says our games are boring, like LVG 2016. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, in the end of the day, we're playing very similar football. We're playing freestyle football. There's not a lot of an indication of a plan or a strategy or a clear style of play. It's very, just play the ball to the good players and make runs in behind, and that's about it. We don't really have a system, whereas all the best sides in world football, you can clearly see what their strategy is. Whereas, as we've been saying for ages, even back to when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer first took over, we don't have that identity, we don't have that style of play. And in these sort of games where you need goals, where you need, a big kind of 15 minutes to win a game, when you don't have that identity, it's freestyle football, you're never going to get consistency. It's just never going to happen, because if your style of play isn't consistent, your results aren't going to be, and that's as simple as that. Mo Salah says Liverpool are going to smash United, it'll be embarrassing. Well, they already have done it this season, so it wouldn't be new. It wouldn't be new. But yeah, it does feel that way, and that's really the only thing we're kind of going towards really this season. It feels like it's just doing our bit to stop Liverpool winning the title. That's about it. I can't think of anything else really that we're playing for. We don't even want Europa League, so it'd almost be better at this point just to lose as many games as possible and try and drop even further down into like 9th or 10th place, so we don't have to play Europa Conference League. But we're going to be stuck in one of those leagues, unfortunately, and yeah, it's going to have to be another season where we have to sit through going to Kazakhstan and Bulgaria and these places. But these players deserve it. These players absolutely deserve it. Box says, remember some of them games with LVG, shite football, same as now. Yeah, as I said, it's frustrating, it's poor, and I don't think anything's going to change really for the last kind of stretch of the season. Obviously, if Arsenal do lose tomorrow, I think we'll still feel like there's a potential for us to close the gap. But realistically, I think the season is practically over, all but over, I think is the phrase that people use. And so I would like to see more youth being played. I would like to see more youth being played. Give some people their debuts. We may as well start blooding in the youth, giving them some appearances, because there's a lot of players on that pitch today who are only getting in the team because of their name. Not because of their performances, not because of how good they are, but because of the big name that they are. And it's frustrating because, we don't really have too many other options right now, but something big has to be done about it. And with the owners of this club and with the history of this club, I don't see those big changes happening anytime soon. We've just got to sit through it. But this is what football fans being about. You can't have all the glory. And as we've known over the last 8-9 years, you really can't have all the glory. And you've got to sit through the bad times as we're doing. So, you just got to sit through it and make our voices heard about, how dissatisfied we are. But you just got to support the team, I guess. And that's all that matters. I am waffling a little bit, but honestly, there's not much else to say about that performance. It was a weak as piss performance by a team that looks like they don't really care. Same old, really. Owen, thanks for joining. He says, Cristiano Ronaldo, suey. I'm sure some of you might have heard that. I can't believe I said it out in that voice. Diego says, the appointment of your new manager is important for your players. It needs to happen sooner than later, surely. Well, it's definitely not going to happen until the end of the season. I can tell you that for certain. Rangnick's going to stay until the end of the season, and then he's going to be in director of football role, which, to me, is a step in the right direction. But, big changes have to be made. They have to be. Because at this rate, we're dormant. We are dormant, and it's getting more frustrating by the season. But at the end of the day, you know, with the money we've spent, the players on the pitch should be doing better, and the managers we've had should be doing better with the money we've spent. But we need to be better with the way we spend money. We need to be, you know, better in negotiation, and we need to be better in terms of our scouting. But listen, last question from Box is, how many of the 30-man squad are good enough? That's a great question, to be fair. That is a very good question. I feel like probably, I would say 2 or 3. 2 or 3 are probably good enough right now. I'd say, you know, if you give the likes of Varane, Sancho, Bruno Fernandes, De Gea a good enough manager and a good enough system, I think they're good enough. But the rest of them, Ronaldo as well, but the rest of them, I think it's very hard to argue their case. But as I said, I hope in future seasons, you know, some of these players that are getting slated and they can come in a proper system and, you know, change that. But as of right now, it's looking very, very bleak, looking very, very dire. But as Matthew said at the start of the stream, we already knew this. This is not new. We already knew this. Also, do you have a link to CSN on this channel? I don't have a link to CSN on this channel. But if you do want to read some articles I post about, you know, football and also just sport in general, I am doing some, you know, journalism stuff on there, writing some articles. It's kind of like a news website. If you want to check it out, I can put the link in the live stream right now. And if you want to check out some of the articles, please do feel free to do so. Let me see, I'll put a link in the live chat, so if you want to go and check them out, you can. It's a bit of a plug, I may as well put it in. So yeah, if you want to check out some of the articles that are in the live chat right now, it's coilsports.com. Hello John, thank you for watching, appreciate it. I'm sure you're absolutely buzzing after today's result. And Red Devil Monthly, I wish I had something to say, but I literally can't. Hopefully more regular uploads are coming. But I can't say much, to be honest with you, John. You've got me stumped on that one. I can't really come back to that. But yeah, that's the news website. If you want to check out any of the articles on there, please do feel free to do so. Coilsports.com. Box says he reckons Ronaldo, Varane, Sancho, Fernandes, are the players that are probably good enough. That's kind of what I think as well. That's kind of my list. As I said, if you want to let us know what you thought about that in the comment section down below, who are the players at Manchester United who are still good enough to play for this club? Let me know in the live chat, comment section down below. That's the question of the stream. But we'll probably end it there, to be honest. As I said, I don't want to spend too much of my time on these weasels, and they are weasels, until, of course, they can show some fight, some desire, and some quality. But until then, charlatans, a lot of them. But anyway, thanks for watching, really do appreciate it. Hit that like button if you aren't already. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Next game, just got to focus on the next game, I guess. Hopefully Arsenal drop points. I don't see it, unfortunately, but hopefully Crystal Palace can do a job for us. But this is where we are now. We are hoping and praying that other teams drop points for us to get top 4. With the money we spent in the summer, it's just not good enough. Just not good enough. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate your time tonight. Hope you have a good rest of your Saturday evening. Until we meet again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Take care.